So, Nurse is going to screen share, and we're going to go through kind of squad setup, talk about upgrading skills, upgrading gear, talk about kind of some resource management because of the resources that it costs in order to upgrade those, and kind of talk through research as well. So, that's kind of the plan for today. I had noticed that we have some members that they're gaining total power, but squad power is still kind of hanging a little lower. And I thought, well, maybe there's just some information that needs to be shared that will help that squad power start increasing, so that people are able to do better whenever we're having like the gold zombie events and we have all those golden zombie bosses out. I want more people to be able to partake in rallying those without having to wait for somebody really strong to be on. So that's kind of the goal, is to try to help people get to that level of being able to do the at least a 10, maybe even up to the 20 bosses all by themselves without having to wait on somebody. So Nurse will screen share, and we'll just kind of talk through this together. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the resources that it takes. So, one important thing is not to ever upgrade any gear other than your UR or that yellow or gold gear. The purple gear, the blue gear, the green gear, it's not worth upgrading because you'll put the upgrade ore, and later, if you take it and dismantle it or disintegrate it, what happens is you don't get the gold back that you put in. So you would never want to be upgrading purple, green, or blue gear. Only the UR gear. So I'm not sure if you can see this. I'm going to screenshot and I'll put this into our information within our pinned announcements. But one of the things I just want to point out is how much gold it takes to upgrade your UR gear. So you're really wanting to hit the milestone. So you're trying to hit like the 10K, the 10, level 10, level 20, level 30, and then level 40. And as you see on here, it'll tell you the milestone that it takes 3.2 million gold and 20.8 thousand ore just to get to level 10 on your UR gear. And then as you go all the way down, you'll see the total amount from 1 to 40 is 29 million gold and 194,000 upgrade ore. So once you've got it to your 40, then you can start that upgrading to do your promoted gear. So this is where we start getting the stars on our gear, which makes us a lot more powerful. So as you see, the total here to get all the way 100% completion, you're spending 23.4 million coin, and then you're also spending 12.5 thousand for just one of those. So it's very expensive. Once you get to the end of that and you get to the 100%, it's time to promote to get that first star. It doesn't cost coin, but it does cost 12.5 thousand ore. It takes those 150 ceramics plus 5 gear blueprints. So one of the things I have seen come up in Alliance chat a few times is I've got honor points and I want to spend them on things other than the gear blueprints. And is that a good idea? And right now it's not a good idea, because when you look at how many gear blueprints you need, you've got 5, 10, 15, and 20. You wind up needing 50 gear blueprints for one piece of gear in order to promote to 4-star. And so it just takes a lot of those in order to do that. And then at the end, you'll need those mythic blueprints. So if you look at the total on this chart, it's going to take you to get to the 5-star rank. It's going to take you 572 million coin, 693,000 ore, and 6,000 ceramics, as well as 50 legendary blueprints and then 10 mythic blueprints. And so that's why when we talk about, for the ammo event, we want people to be saving up for those mythic blueprints, because that's one of the only ways to get those as a free-to-play player. You can also get them in the glittering market. So it's very important that whenever glittering market is there, that you are using and saving those glittering coins to be able to do the mythic blueprints, because eventually you're going to want those, so that you're more competitive with those blueprints so you can upgrade. So I just wanted to talk about that because it is resource intense. And so right now we're not trying to say really promote and try to get this all the way to 5-star, because that's not feasible and it's not realistic. But you want to be at least getting to 40 and maybe 1-star, so that you are more competitive. But it's a lot of gold, it's a lot of ceramics, and then those blueprints that you buy with the honor. So very important to think about that. Does that make sense? I just want to open that up in case anybody has any questions about that.
Hi. Actually, I do have one question. So, like the priority, actually, like which gears we should prioritize first?
I generally prioritize Kim for who I would 5-star first. I would 5-star her gun
Uh, Sorry,
first.
I guess I wasn't clear. Like my question was like the gear improvement, like gear improvement. So, like let's say like you want to make it to 40, right? Like the gun first. But then like what about the rest of the stuff? The
Yes, so generally, of course, for Kim and your damage dealers, so like when we get
Want to grab a
Stepmen,
drink?
you want to do 40 on the gun. And then the other one that's really good to do 40 on is the data chip. And you would probably want to start by prioritizing getting those to 40 on your damage dealers. And then also on your tanks, you want to prioritize getting
Success is not the end.
the guard reactive armor to 40, and the radar to 40. Once you've done that, I generally go back, and again, because of the ranks in 10, that you want to get to ranks in 10, I generally, once I've got the gun to 40, the data chip to 40, for Kim, and then the armor and the radar to 40 for Murphy, I start going back and I get ranks of 10 on everybody else. I'll do
Invaders
10, 10, 10
A great
on all the
ally
other
and a close
pieces.
pal.
And then I'll go back and do 20 on the other
Wanna grab a
until
drink?
I get them up to 40. But I always start with my heaviest hitters on their gun and their data first. And then I do the armors on my tank guys. And then everybody else I start just promoting up in those, basically the 10, just doing 10 on everything, then 20 on everything until everything's 40. So it just takes a long time. But that way your biggest damage is happening from your tank and data, for your gun and data, and then the armor for your protection class is happening too. Is that what you're asking?
But yeah, kind of. I was more curious about the the radar and the data chip, like all those type of stuff. Like when should we actually start working on those? Because like let's say like if you have everything on to 40 already, let's say like the guns are 40 already. So like what should I make? Should I focus on the protection like for
Want to grab a
Murphy
drink?
to make it 40?
So what would you say?
I mean, for
That's
me, right now, I would start, like she said, to push everything up. If you're not starring your guns here, that's the next thing. So, like here, you're gonna start pushing these. But once we get the other UR DPS, like
Ready
my
to
guy here
go.
isn't, this is a lot. Having two guns to 40 will probably be most of your stuff until season one. Like that's a lot of resources to get that. From
yeah.
there,
That,
I do
uh-huh.
glass cannon, so I'll go to data next for both my damage dealers. So do the one from Kim, and right now I have Mason in there. As soon as we get our second UR DPS, I
Like
don't
here
remember.
very soon, it's day 57, and we're like
Yeah, so
Yeah,
57.
six
This guy
days.
right here. Once we
yeah,
hit him,
Stedman.
he becomes our fifth UR for our tank squads. If you're tank, this is when you are now full UR and you'll actually stay tank. If you're gonna be a dolphin and go air, your squad will look like this. I have 3 URs, and I'm still waiting on the other 2. So you're just a little bit further behind, but you'll get there.
Okay, I see. So like let's say like if I have like the gun to 40 with 2 stars, and let's say like the hunter data chip is like 40 as well, like on both damage dealers. So should I'm working on a Murphy right now, like to make
With
him
me around, victory is
basically like
guaranteed.
so let me just pull him out. So I'm working right now on the radar, like to make it 40 on the on, on Murphy. So does it make sense, or should I just go 2020 like each armor? Like let's say like reactive armor and then the radar, like should I make it 2020, or is better to make to do it like 1030
Um,
or
Everything
1040?
I've read is to once you get your 2 guns up, is to start doing it by tens for everybody but your healer. So the
Okay.
only one that doesn't get upgraded
Invaders are
gear
destined to
is
fail.
Marshall. On a tank squad, if
Yeah,
you're
right
air
there.
main, it's the same thing. Whoever your healer is, don't prioritize their gear until the very last. It's better for them, even if you're making UR gear for them, it's better to put your UR gear on your damage dealer from squad 2 than it is to put UR gear on your healer from squad 1, even though your squad 1 is your main squad.
And you
Makes
know
sense.
what? I did have a graphic for this, and I'm not seeing it in the pinned announcements, so I guess it fell off. So let me see if I can find that and post it again, um, since it fell off for some reason.
I actually, yeah, what you just said, I read about it too. So like the same suggestions. So I was just curious because you guys have a lot of experience in this.
Yeah, I mean, we follow most of what like Reddit and the things you read. We follow that too. There will become a point in me and Doc's last playthrough. It was about 3, 4 weeks into season 1. I started prioritizing squad 2 over squad 1 because my squad 1 it needed so much, and I needed to have at some point you'll need to have 2 squads that are powerful enough to truly be able to fight. So having one squad at 20 mil power and then your second squad sitting at 9 isn't viable anymore. So you start flipping all of your upgrade ore and everything onto squad 2 to try to catch it up to squad 1. I think they said that when I looked it up, they said to do that probably mid season 1, because it really starts to matter in preseason between season 1 and 2 and season 2. So that's something else. Like again, that's more for people who are Dolphin esque. If you're spending money, that's what you do. If you're completely free to play, it probably doesn't matter as much because you're really not going to be able to truly ever be um, able to go up against big guys with your squad too. But if you can get 2 squads above, 15 million power by the end of season 1, you're probably, more Dolphin esque. So for like you, Zexor, I think that's kind of where you'll end up being is once you get your main squad up to where most of your gear is close to 40 for everybody but your healer, I would start going to squad 2 and start upgrading their gear, getting them all UR geared out except for that healer, and start upgrading that. Because you're going to end up needing to be able to beat people with your second squad because the power differential right now, like, I mean, even Sleepy, he runs, I think it's 15, 16 million, I think I saw on one of his first squads. And, I mean, Doc, who's not spending near as much money as Sleepy, is running 10 or 11. There will get to a point where whales are running 35, 40 million power squads, and the rest of us are running mid 20s. Their second squad is better than my first. That also goes with like so I say like you have the whales, you have the dolphins. If that's where the whales are, the dolphins are that much better than the minnows, the completely free to play, not top 3 alliance, so they didn't grow as fast. Those players are going to be where my second squad needs to be above about 15, maybe 20 million by the end of season 1. So my second squad beats 75% of the players on any server. So my main squad goes up against other dolphins, my second squad goes up against minnows, and I can ash in 2 places at once.
Yeah, I see the point. And actually, my question is, so how to gain the power though? Like that's the big question. So because right now, like I don't, I mean, let's say like Sleepy, he has like 122 million squads. Let's say like both squads are like around like 20 million, or maybe even more. How do you get there actually? What
So,
should we improve to get there? That's the point.
yes, what gets you there is your research on your squads. Your UR gear is very important. Your skill medals on your heroes is very important. And then going down into the research tree of the special forces, and I'm sure that Sleepy, I don't know if Sleepy has T10 yet, but if he doesn't, he is deep into this tree, and every single one of the things in here really starts boosting his power when you start looking at what it does. It makes it where your troops aren't dying as easily, they're attacking harder, and they have more HP. They're more defense, more HP, and more attack. So all of these make your squad better. Every single one of these will increase that power.
Yeah, you'll get
Okay.
so like right here, each one of these will raise your overall power level by like 2 or 3 thousand. Not a ton, but it makes a big difference. You go down to some of these down here, like these. Some of the later ones of these were jumping my power by 50 to 100,000 power, raw power, which translates into your squad. So every time I got one of these, I was bumping 50,000 power onto my main squad. And when you're running 2 tech centers and that's all they do, I'm doing one of these every other couple of days. So that alone will raise you. If you finish up, even without having T10s, if you just did the research on T9s, you'd go up probably 5 to 7 million power just in here alone, not counting
Okay.
all these units. So you can see, like, I got units down to here. You get all your units upgraded all the way up, where this tree is all the way up, you're probably talking another 3 or 4 million power minimum. And then that's like I said, Doc said, we're not even talking about gear or any of the other
Want to
things
grab a
that
drink?
start to come around. You get this to 5 stars, and you're talking like a 1.2 to 1.5 million power because some of these start to mess with. Um, they increase other people's damage. So, uh, like Kimberly doesn't do it as much. Kimberly's a straight damage dealer, but if you go to, I think it's this
Don't
guy,
worry, I'm here for you.
his stuff, you specifically go to like his skills and things. Some of these starts increasing damage to other players or to other heroes inside your squad. So you upgrade this guy, and he makes Kimberly better. And then all of these are the other thing. You start getting these guys up, and you come here. This for your tank heroes, it increases tank hero
Right.
HP boost for all of your tank heroes. So everybody goes up. If you go up on a DPS, it's attack power. So if you start bumping these guys, because I have her in here because she's 5 starred with my chips. So now all my chips go into here. For every 50, I go up zero point 0.5 on all of my tanks.
Yeah, it's every 500, so you have to invest 500 to get to 50.
Yeah.
500 shards, yeah, that's expensive, I
Yeah,
know.
it gets very expensive, but this is like, and again, this is because of some things that are in Last War are point based. Those are guaranteed numbers. Anything that's percentage based starts to become more powerful exponentially. So when that's where, like I said, when you start getting to the bottom of that T9, um, everything's exponentially going off of each other. So you end up with like these massive crit numbers where you're seeing I have 4% tech boost. I have no drone yet because they haven't dropped that. My Wall of Honor has nothing, but I'm getting 2.5 in VIP, and I'm getting plus 5% tank HP boost inside my cosmetics. So everything starts to matter up. So when you're running over here, I got 3.6 million power just in cosmetics alone. Some of these cosmetics, you get them up higher, like all of a sudden, my damage reduction is an extra percent. My hero attack goes up by 400. That's for every hero in my group. So, you know, 5 heroes, I'm going up by 2,000 hero attack across my squad. That's a massive increase. And when that's also boosted because I'm getting 2.5 from VIP, and if I had all my research on, I'd get another 7% off my research. That 2,000 is now more like 4,200, and all of a sudden you're going up exponentially. That's how these whales get so powerful. They'll double and triple us because they have the cosmetics, they have the research, they have better T9s, and they're just burning all this stuff up to where, 50% for us means I go up, I'm 9 million, so I go up to 13.5. They go up 50%. If all of a sudden Sleepy gets that and he goes up 50%, he's at 30 million. That's where it just starts expounding.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean the decorations I'm seeing pretty good actually, better than some of the whales that we have. But I was liking like probably the technologies that's kind of like pushes me back a little bit because decorations I have over 5.5 million there.
Yeah, so you're doing really good on decorations. And all that decorations is good because that's what they call raw. So that goes straight into the original number. That's cool. Just background history. Last War does math weird. Some things are added after your percentage increase, and some things are added before the percentage increase. All decorations are added before. So, if you, that 3.6 that I'm showing you there, and your 5 million goes on before we start getting the 2.5, the 5%, all these other numbers get added to it. So you're increasing your overall number exponentially, which is why decorations are so highly prized.
So,
Okay, now makes sense. Thank you.
yeah, sure. So let's kind of look really quick because I wanted to look at not just upgrading gear. I also wanted to look at, how your squad is arranged because I think some people are still asking questions about that. So can you pull up your squad one so people can see how that's arranged? So whenever you look at your squad, you want to have it arranged where you have your strong tank.
Am I backwards?
You're backwards. You want to have it where your strongest protection is in that front, right? So Nurse has his actually reversed. Murphy should be where Williams is at. They should be reversed. You want Kim in the center, and then it doesn't matter which side you have your healer on and your other DPS as long as you have them on the back row. Later on, whenever we have Stetman and you replace Stetman in instead of Mason, you will then, whenever we're hitting code bosses, you'll want to put Mason back in, but you'll pull Marshall to the front row. You'll put Stetman in the back and you'll put Mason in the back. And the reason why you put Mason in the back is he has a skill that makes it where the back row tanks do more damage. So if you put him in the back with Kim and Stetman and they're really strong and he tells them to be stronger, you'll do a lot more damage on the code bosses. So that's one of the things for the code bosses to have more damage against them. So Mason's one that I often will continue to level up even though he's not UR yet, just because he adds a lot of value to the back row when you're trying to maximize the damage on the code boss for the tanks. So that's something to keep in mind for Mason moving forward. He does become UR in season 1. And so if you're leveling him up a little bit along the way, he winds up being really powerful as a UR. And again, helping you do that more player against monster damage. Whereas right now, the reason you want Stetman is you want to be able to do more player versus player damage whenever we're in the battlefields and everything. So this is how you should set up your squad, where you have them, the protection in the front, and then Kim in the middle and the back, and then healer and damage on the other side. And that's for your tank squad. It's kind of the same for if you're doing an air squad. The air squad also is going to be, you want your tanks in the front, and your strongest tank needs to be in that corner. And then you would have your healer in the back and your damage in the back on either side. Generally, you put even DVA normally goes in the middle. You want your strongest damage normally in the middle because then they don't die as fast. Generally, the ones on the outside take more damage and generally die faster. So you would want DVA in the middle to do more damage over the long term. So that's how you would set up those squads. I'm not going to talk as much about Missile. And the reason being, unless you're spending money, Missile winds up being kind of something that we don't use very much because they release late, and like we didn't have an event where we spent money to get Swift, and so Swift didn't get a lot of stars. Most of the others, like Tesla, we bought. If you bought him, you got all his shards during that Warrior Battle Pass, right? Well, we didn't have that for Swift. So Swift right now is kind of gimpy compared to the others because we didn't get all of his shards. So later on, he'll become more powerful. If you want to do missile, generally missile is whales because it costs a lot of money to get missiles where they need to be. And for most people, it makes better sense to put a secondary tank squad instead of having the missile squad because you've already done within your research tree things that make your tank stronger, and maybe you haven't done anything to make your missile bosses stronger. So it's often better to have a secondary tank squad than your missile squad until you have more of your missile guys leveled up, which generally, if you're not spending money or you're not spending very much money, that's going to be well into season 1 where they finally start being beneficial to you. The other piece I want to share here is there are some prioritizations that you want to be considering. And that is, in season 1, we get exclusive weapons on some of our heroes. These exclusive weapons make a lot of difference in your damage. So those heroes are Kim. So you want Kim 5 stars because you cannot do your exclusive weapon until the hero is 5 stars. So Kim gets an exclusive weapon. So she's really important to prioritize and get to 5 stars. DVA also gets the exclusive weapon. So she's important to level and get to 5 stars. So if you're doing air and you're thinking, well, I'm not really doing air as my main squad, but I want a strong air squad as a secondary, you want to get DVA to 5 stars before you're really trying to do any of the others to 5 stars because she gets that exclusive weapon and she'll be really strong. For missile, it's Tesla. Tesla gets that exclusive weapon in season 1 too. So as you're putting shards into people, be thinking about, I need to get these 3 to 5 stars so I can get the exclusive weapon because it'll make a big difference on those squads. And really your priority, unless you're going to spend money, should be DVA and Kim because those are fairly easy to get to 5 stars without spending money. It's a little harder to get Tesla to 5 stars without spending money by the time he would get that exclusive weapon in season 1. Once season 1 finishes, it's not like that exclusive weapon goes away. So you still have that ability to put that on Tesla later. So if you don't get him to 5 stars and you can't put that exclusive weapon on in season 1, not a big deal. You'll get it in season 2 and can do it then. It's just a matter of prioritizing when you're doing that starring of your heroes to make sure you can get those exclusive weapons. So generally you're going to try to 5-star your squad 1 and then start 5-starring DVA. But you might decide to 5-star DVA just to make sure you can get that exclusive weapon and maybe leave Marshall 4 stars or Williams 4 stars and get DVA to the 5 stars if you're feeling like it's getting close to season 1 and you think you want to try to get that exclusive weapon early. But really focusing on your main squad is generally a better bet for your power for pre-season 1 and even into season 1. But I just wanted to mention the exclusive weapon because it becomes important as a way to gain a lot of power in season 1. So I really wanted to talk about some other things, but we're really kind of at 30 minutes and I'm trying to keep these more around 30 minutes. So I'll plan for next week and we'll do just looking at research for power, and look at what things that can help increase power. But so this week we really focused in on trying to star up our heroes, prioritizing gear. And so next week we can look at the research side of things on how to do more power. I will go ahead and post, the gear progression guide that shows how much RSS it takes so that you guys can be planning that, especially for the gear blueprints. I find that to be helpful so that you're planning ahead to know how many you need. It helped me when I first started playing. I thought it was 5 every time, and whenever I realized it kept stacking and it kept getting more and more, I realized why everybody said I should save my honor to do that. And I hadn't done that the first time around when I was free to play. So I wound up being really far behind on being able to upgrade my weapons because I hadn't been spending my honor well. I spent 100,000 honor on an emote because I thought it looked cool, which was cool. But that 100,000 could have gotten me a star on my gun that I didn't get. So instead I had a cool emote that I could do, but my gun wasn't very strong, and so I still didn't do great at damage. So just trying to prevent some of that for maybe some of you, since I struggled with that early on. So any like questions before we end, and then I will post some stuff online to try to help with just the squad arrangement, squad power, etc.
DOB, quick question for you, and I think you had this pinned in there at one point in time, but I just can't find it anymore. Is suggestions on what to buy in the store?
Yeah, absolutely. It is still in the pinned announcement. I just saw it just a little bit ago, but
No, well,
we
clearly
can
I
pull
missed
that up.
it, but, okay.
That one right there.
Fair
So,
enough. I will go back and look again.
yeah, so your VIP store, your Alliance store, and it is in, that one did not fall off, so that one is still there, but it's like down towards the bottom, so it's easy to miss if you're going pretty quickly.
Okay,
And I can
thank
always
you.
repost it as an announcement today too. I have the pinned announcement, and I like those because they stay, but sometimes I need to go ahead and cycle back through and put some of these out, especially as we get new players, just to make sure everybody's getting the information and just trying to stay current, you know?
And
Perfect, thank you.
Question about the squad layout.
Yeah, Ray?
So looking at the layout that we're looking at right there, it's obviously tank, helicopter, missile. Is that something we should be doing right now? Because currently my main squad is all tank, but my next two are mixtures because they're just my strongest units that I could put in the respective squads.
do you have the fourth squad? Do you buy
Like,
the?
is what we're looking at what we should be doing right now, or is it something we should be building up towards?
Well, just for questions, do you buy this every
Yeah, I
month?
got that.
Okay. If you have that, then I would say you need to go 1, 2, and 3 tank, air, missile, and then 4 is your secondary tank squad. If you'll notice, I think I can pull it up here. I have tank, air, which is a little bit higher than missile, and then my secondary tank squad, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think these guys have gear on them right now, is actually more powerful than my missile. So I tend to use 1 and 4, and at some point I will use it even more because I'll have Murphy over here. But this is where it's best to have it this way, because if you get used
Yeah,
to
like
this
I
in
said, I can see the
PvP,
layouts. Is this something we should be running right now or building towards? That's my next question.
I would say run it right now because it's best to have them
So
all
tank,
together.
air, missile, tank, or tank, fully tank on squad 1, and then a mixture of our strongest units in squads 2, 3, and 4. What would you recommend is what I'm asking.
I would recommend doing it full squads. Um, because if you do it full squads, you get a 20% buff, and unless
'Cause I know we get the
mixing,
bonuses for 5 units of each type,
right?
but I tried that earlier on, and I just didn't seem to get the damage value out of the other squads.
And that's where I don't know where your squads are at to know how to answer that 100% correctly. If you can get above the 20% power, so if you're getting more than that 20% by having a mix matched group, it's probably best to have a mix matched group. For me personally, I can't mix my missiles and my air together to beat that 20% that I get. So for me, it's best to split them all out as tank, air, missile. But if you can beat that 20% and have squad 2 be 20% more as a mixed squad than it would be as a solo, then it's worth having a mixed squad for it.
Well, I do want to mention something here because you're making me think. Because I think we're spending all of our XP on like the UR, we're spending all of our hero XP on that and trying to level up main squad and then URs maybe in other squads. I just want to mention that with your alert tower campaign, that if you put in, say you got Tesla, and maybe you do this, Wraith. I just want to mention this in case other people are not aware. But if you put in, like when you get Tesla and he's level 1, if you go in and you're doing that campaign for the missile people and you put Tesla in as level 1 and run it, maybe you do like level 12 instead of level 13 or whatever. He gets levels as he runs through, and you don't have to spend any hero XP to get some levels on him. So it's a good way to level up those lower level UR heroes without spending that hero XP, getting more bang for your buck.
And I do that. I've
Yeah.
got my other squads are going through there. I've got some of my guys are below the 100 line because I did read that on it. Is anything below 100 can get the level ups, anything over doesn't, from what I recall. But yeah, I do that. It's just like I said, I'm just looking at the layouts, and I tried that earlier on helicopter missile, and they just didn't have the power that they currently have. And I know in the future, because this is a long haul game, they'll eventually get to that point where I can break them out. But right now, I can say on both my second and third squad, I have usually two tanks, a missile, and two helicopters, depending on the squad. And they seem to have higher power values than if I just run them solo as helicopter or missile.
So you want to be working towards being able to have an all air squad, but
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
working towards. is
yeah,
that.
you're working towards it, and so that's good at this point. And we don't have all the UR helicopter people out yet, all our air people. So
Yeah.
I kind of do that sometimes too. I play around with what I need to have the biggest power. Especially if I feel like I need it for a reason. I try to use my main squad for anything I feel like I need the most power for. But a lot of times I will mix and match as needed, like in arena, to try to make it where I can beat people, and I don't hold it to, it needs to be all air, it needs to be all missile. So there's a lot of just kind of, especially early on, because you don't have all the UR heroes, you don't have them all starred, you don't have all the gear. Some of it is just seeing the layout that gets you the most power in that secondary squad.
Okay. I'm probably overthinking it myself, but that's how I've always been.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about this game is this game is
Well, thank you.
run heavily in math. So like a lot of the stuff that we may say it with absolute certainty, but it's not always 100% accurate for every person depending on how they play, where their research is. All those kind of little intricate things can change it to where just because we say it doesn't necessarily mean it's true for you at this point in time. So, like I said, that's why if you can beat that 20%, run a mixed match squad because it's better for you. Will that always be the case? Who knows? Some people have. I've met guys that we fought in the middle of season 2 that were running mixed match 3-2 squads because somebody on Reddit put this post out. They ran it, and before the game could patch it, you could run a 3-tank, 2 aircraft squad and beat everybody for like a month and a half. So the game changes. They do weird things. Sometimes things are broke. It says it's going to do something, but it really doesn't. So play with it. You know, I mean, that's the fun thing about this game is you can do some funny things and come out ahead and surprise people. So you're not wrong in looking at that kind of stuff. It's probably better than some of us who just follow, whatever Reddit says like it's law.
I think that concludes our talk for today. And next week, I'll try to have some stuff for research to kind of talk about that, and maybe do a little bit more about PvP again as well, because we're going to start having some different kinds of PvP events. We're going to have the Meteor event this week. I wish I could have talked about that, but I did put some graphics out in my moments where you can look at that for the Meteor event. And we'll provide more information as the week progresses to get ready for that. It's really fun. It's a different kind of PvP. It's a different kind of battle. So I think you guys will enjoy it. It's different than server versus server where we're fighting in the mud for the capital. So some people don't like it as much, but I really like it because it doesn't feel as intense. Like yes, you might get ashed, but it's not like you're ashed over and over again and lose your troops for 2 weeks in a row because you got ashed so many times. It's you get ashed a couple times possibly, but most of the players don't even want to ash you. They just want to attack you and steal the stuff that you picked up. So you might get hit, but generally you don't get ashed out. So I think you guys are going to enjoy that, and it helps, again, learning some PvP stuff, but the rewards of it are really good. I'll put out a something about maybe trying to do a doc talk maybe Thursday night or something where we could talk about the Meteor War. So thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you coming, and we did record it so this can be watched by other people, and then we'll plan for one next week as well.
Wonderful. Appreciate your time.